Welcome to Ascending with Venus Castleberg, a space where we explore the journey of spiritual awakening, expanding your consciousness and raising your frequency to create a whole new world. We'll dive into the possibilities that open up when you choose to follow the whispers and trust your inner knowing. Each episode is designed to guide you in expanding your awareness, tuning into your intuition, and discovering the magic of your life every day. We'll talk about living aligned with your soul's purpose, going beyond limitations and creating a life and a world worth celebrating. You are here to embrace who you truly are and step into the infinite potential that's waiting for you. Let's ascend together. And now, here is your host, Venus Castleberg.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. If you're here live, please say hello. I love seeing people pop up in the chat just to know that I'm talking to somebody out there. Anyway, I was thinking about this topic. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a story. So some of you have heard part of it possibly, but I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. Hi, Sandra, welcome. So when I first became a clairvoyant medium, it was a surprise, and it happened when I turned 30, and I was not expecting it. And I resisted it and kind of fought against it for about 3 years. And I think I had mentioned, hi Babu. So I think I had mentioned to you guys before that a couple of different things were happening. So when I first started on this journey, I was trying to develop my physical spiritual sight. So I just was practicing developing that, started seeing things, saw spirits, saw ghosts, saw angels, saw some of my team, and even saw a very short pink alien with big eyes. And I know that the pink alien was kind of what shut me down. I don't know if it was just fear of the unknown or of the unfamiliar. I guess I could wrap my head around being able to see ghosts, and I could wrap my head around being able to see my spiritual team or angels, right? But seeing the alien and also seeing 3 spaceships in the middle of the day, right, one right after the other, with a friend of mine who saw it at the same time, was kind of like this, like, I always call it like a paradigm smash, right? So it's like this, you're going along, you think life is good, and you have all of these, ideas of what life's all about, and you hit a wall. And sometimes people go through this, they call it dark night of the soul, but you're not really connected. You felt connected before, and now you feel disconnected. I did. I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is a fun thing to develop with my physical eyes. And then I got freaked out, thought, oh, I might be going crazy. And I just, I grew up different. My name's Venus. It's been Venus since I was born. So I, didn't give myself that name. I'm tall, and I've always stood out. Yes, Babu, there are really ghosts. Hi, Morton, welcome. But I was just like, okay, I can see them with my physical eyes. I started to hear spirits outside of me, and I was just like, no, this is not happening. I don't want to be the crazy lady. I don't want to be the weird lady. But I'll be honest with you. I think maybe even at that time, what I labeled as fear came up. I was like, fear of the unknown, fear of being crazy, fear of people thinking I was weirder than I actually was, like all these fears coming up, and then I shut down playing with my physical sight, and then my spiritual sight spontaneously opened. So there was no avoiding it. But in a way, there still was an avoiding, right? And the avoiding being, okay, I have this fear of the spirit realm. But looking back now, I can look at like when I became a clairvoyant medium, I don't know that was for anybody else but me. I had lost my dad when I was 18. I grieved him for 10 years, mostly because I was brought up in religion. And religion told me that, if somebody wasn't saved or good, that they were going to hell. And so I think I had a lot of guilt and fear that maybe my dad was not in a good place after he died. So I really believe this now, that when we get our spiritual gifts, they're not necessarily to give back. They can be, and they can become that. And I teach psychic development classes now, and it's become that for me, but this is 25 years later, 20, well, not quite 25, 23 years later. But I had to first get to peace with death, with the death of the body. The death of the body is not the end. The spirit lives on. The spirit often reincarnates. Again, if anything I say doesn't resonate with you or doesn't match your belief system, just throw it away. I'm not here to convince you. This is just what I've come to understand for me. So souls reincarnate, come back, right? I was like, oh, okay. So my dad's not suffering somewhere. And that was very healing for me, right? But there was still this level of fear. I'll call it fear because at the time I didn't identify it as anything else, right? Like I said, fear of a lot of different things. Also, before I forget, because I often do, if you ever have questions or you want to talk to me, you can call in 202-570-7057. And I'd be happy to answer any questions and talk to you about what I've come to learn. So you can also call in for coaching facilitation too. That works too. So I was looking at this recently, and it dawned on me that I was really in a state of, I shut it down. I was like, I don't want to see. You can turn on your spiritual gifts, turn them on and off. I don't want to see. I don't want to be different. I don't want to be weird. Fast forward 3 years from that, and I'm like starting to get depressed. I feel like I'm off track somehow. And I just instinctively knew that I was off track, and that being off track, I was off track with the fact that I had become a clairvoyant medium and I wasn't really doing anything with it. Now, again, like I said, I think your spiritual gifts are often for you first, and then you can take them out and, change the world with them if you want to, but you don't have to. Like, I think a lot of with spiritual awareness, we have to get to a point where we can't deny that there's a spiritual realm out there. Yeah, we'll have Chris will put in the phone number in just a second. Yep, absolutely. So I'm sitting there going, okay, I'm resisting this capacity that I now have, and just from being afraid of being weird and different. And then 3 years later, I'm like, okay, I need to make some changes, and I need to go on a vision quest to Sedona. And I need to just figure out what's going on. And so I went out there and spent some time with a family friend. And I'll forever be grateful for this friend because he took me around. I told him what was going on, and he believed in it and he thought it was awesome. He also went around and shared vortexes with me and spaceships, also seeing more spaceships. And he also introduced me to a lot of people that had special gifts and spiritual capacities. And by the end, I was just like, okay, I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. But I still had this like fear. We'll just call it fear. So he had a couple of friends that were also crystal healers, and they had this crystal grid, and they did this healing session. And they said they had a session, and I said, great, can I maybe watch? Because I was just curious what they were doing. And they're like, sure, come on in. So I sat in a chair in the back of the room and just watched and thought it was cool and didn't think much of it. And my spiritual team comes in and says, open your sight. Because by now I had realized that I could turn it off and turn it on, and I kept it off most of, hi Amanda, that I kept it off for most of the time. So they were like, turn your sight on. And I was like, no. I am so forever grateful to my spiritual team for their patience with me. And they said, open your sight. And I was finally gave in, and I opened it just enough to see the healing session. And so now there were lights and lots of energy flying around. And I'm like, wow, this is really cool. And they're like, open your sight to fill the whole room. And I'm like, no. Oh, I love them. And they're like, come on, trust us. It's okay. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I open up my sight to include the whole room. And in the back corner of the room, there's a dark mass. And I'm like, see, I didn't need to see that. I was fine. I didn't need to see the darkness and blah, 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 right? Went down my little rant. And after I calmed down enough, they were like, okay, now invite it towards you. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I was a little more explicit than that, but I'm on a TV today, so I will try to keep my language under control. Try. And they were like, again, trust us. You're not in danger here. Just invite it towards you. And I invited the energy. I finally gave in again, invited the energy towards me. And when it hit my energy field, some people call it an aura, it turned into bubbles of light and floated up to the sky. And I even heard it say thank you on its way out. In that instant, I realized there was nothing for me to be afraid of. And I've never feared the spirit realm since then. Again, what if whatever's happening, maybe you're going through dark night of the soul or some sort of spiritual awakening, and we're like, what if this is happening for you? Like the vision quest and all that stuff, the crystal healing, like them telling me to like open my sight so I could see the dark energy. That's completely different than what I had up until that point, right? Like I was like, suddenly before I was scared of what I was seeing and hearing. I wasn't quite sure what to do with all that information and now I'm like, oh, I can't be harmed. Like, what a gift, right? But that capacity to change darkness into light, to let energy come towards you and know that you're not going to be affected, I think that's a big piece for a lot of people. But if we if we looked at whatever was going on in our lives, it could even just be life is happening right now. Somebody might be sick in your life. You might be going through a breakup or a divorce. There's all sorts of things. Life happens, right? But like, what if everything that we go through is for our own growth, for our own development? Yeah, I don't know. I really have been looking at that because it's so easy for us to be like, oh, I have these spiritual gifts, and that must mean I'm supposed to go teach people how to open their spiritual gifts. Now, 20 years later, I am teaching people that, but that wasn't the beginning, right? The beginning was for me and my healing. So what's happening right now could be this pull on your soul, this call for you to open up, to let go of stuck beliefs, to let go of fear, to let go of things that are no longer serving you, right? But we often have to look at them or invite them towards us so that they can change, right? And I just, yeah, I hope that story was a contribution to some of you, but for me, it was really a pivotal moment. And even now, I think this is really funny. Even now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but most of our end of the world movies and alien movies, the aliens are not very nice. I don't know if they're just creating separation before, we're actually all made cognitively aware of the fact that they're already here. But it reminds me of, if you go back to even the beginning of the American days, right? And how much segregation was happening. It's like now we have to be segregated from aliens and all aliens are bad. Now, just like people, I mean, there's some jerks of people out there. There's jerks of extraterrestrials, sure. But that hasn't been my experience at all. That's not who I've met and who I've talked to. And like they're not mean, evil, bad, awful. like they're really kind. And yeah, like they won't, it's just like our spiritual team won't interfere. Extraterrestrials also won't interfere because they're not supposed to interfere with our evolution, right? So, but what if like whatever's happening right now is to really help us get past these limiting beliefs that are limiting us, for lack of a better way of saying it, right? Spiritual gifts, it's like they come on when a lot of times they come on when somebody's like lost somebody. I just heard of a guy who was I want to say maybe EMT or something like that, but he lost his dad and two brothers, not of the same accident, but all within like a week or two of each other, and then spontaneously had a spiritual awakening and is now a medium. That happens. I hear that often, right? People lose somebody really close to them and then they have this spontaneous opening. But how much easier is it for him knowing that his loved ones aren't gone completely? They just aren't in their physical bodies anymore. So maybe you could look at that. Maybe if any of you are watching and listening and have a comment or a spiritual gift that you got and you'd like to comment what that spiritual gift is, and you can like look at what's happening or what happened, maybe it already happened, right? And how did that open you up. So when I spent those 3 years in the dark night of the soul, resisting my gifts and starting to get depressed, there was also this really hard separation between me and the divine, me and the universe. You might call it God, doesn't matter. However you title it is great. But I did. It was like in putting up these walls and barriers and separating myself from my gifts, I was also separating myself from my spiritual team. They didn't go anywhere, but I felt disconnected, right? Disconnected from the universe, alone, crazy, right? All these things that happen when we separate ourselves, instead of what's the invitation when we lower our walls and barriers and lean in to whatever's happening. Lean in, like lowering my walls and barriers. It could be like opening your sight and closing your sight could be a wall and barrier, right? So opening my sight to include the room, and then me being willing to lower my walls and barriers enough to be like, okay, darkness, come towards me, apparently. Apparently this is a good idea. Now I'm not saying that this is your path, but that, like, for me, that again, that moment changed everything. And I never feared the spiritual realm or aliens again. Like I mean, granted, I won't go see, like Romulus or anything like that, because I just don't need that energy put in my space, right? That's not my experience. So what's your experience with your spiritual gifts, and how have they invited you to grow, to change, to do something different, right? That's a big one. A lot of times spiritual awakenings happen and then people are like really called to do something different. They've been doing the same job for a long time, and then now all of a sudden they're like, okay, no, I'm not going to do that job anymore. I'm actually called to do something else. And I went on to do a lot of different modalities after that. Massage was the big one, but I did hypnotherapy and, saw some cool things there. Homeopathy, Reiki, all the things, access consciousness, just anything I could get my hands on to better my life. And that I think for me, the pivot, because I also was always like, oh, I need to learn this so I can help others. I need to learn this so I can help others. I need to learn this so I can help others. Instead of, maybe, what if your soul's calling is to better yourself and better your life? And you may, help others along the way. You definitely, when you're doing that for you, you're inviting other people to that for themselves. But what if it doesn't have to be about others? It doesn't have to be about trying to, oh, now I'm a clairvoyant medium, so now that means I need to go out and like do medium seminars or, right? And maybe that is your calling, but I'd be cautious, and it's your choice, but I'd be cautious of feeling like the minute you have a spiritual opening or you have an awareness that means now you have to go share it. Not everybody can hear it anyway, right? Like, how many people spontaneously become a medium and then they can't tell anybody because nobody would believe them, right? That's out there. Your inner circle is, whether you can tell your inner circle something like that or not. And some of you have tried. Some of you are like, okay, I'm on this spiritual path and I must, I'm a medium or a psychic, or, I talk to rocks or whatever it is that you do. And then you think that you have to somehow go, contribute that to others. What if that's not the case? What if it's more about like you and developing yourself? I wonder. Awesome. So yes, if you have any questions, you're welcome to call in 202-570-7057. We're in the US, so it's plus, actually, yeah, we're still in the US, right? So it's +1, I believe. Awesome. I think we're going to take a short break and we'll come back and do a visualization right after. Thank you.
Om Times TV. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Om Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome forward. Yeah, yes, it's on my list. Yeah. So, yeah, welcome forward. I hope that was a contribution. Please feel free to comment if it was, or give me a thumbs up or an emoji or something like that. I'd love to know that this is making sense and landing out there, and I'm not just, not making sense to anyone. So I thought today we would do a visualization on, like, maybe deciphering your true soul's calling. And I saw a magazine. I do dream boards, and actually this year I did a vision book, which was really cool. It was like an art book, and I filled it with images. And I know I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like, why shouldn't your life's work be you? And that is such a great invitation. Like, why do we think our life's work has to be something altruistic? And I mean, I'm not saying don't go serve others. I believe in service. I love being of service. That's why I do these calls. But what if it wasn't about learning the next modality or becoming certified in the next thing, which I'm an expert at? I think I have like 25 certifications in alternative healthcare and transformational work alone, not to mention how many colleges I went to, and talk about somebody who's addicted to learning new things. That's me. But like, be of service because it's fun for you and it brings you joy and fulfillment inside of you. But, a lot of people too, they're like, oh, I'm here to serve the people. And I'm going to challenge you to look at that if that's your calling, that's awesome. But aren't you people too? Aren't you a person too? So can't you serve yourself and others? Can't you be included in the equation? And I would just say, it begins with us. And then it naturally filters out to others anyway, right? The better you take care of your body, the more other people see that and they're like, oh, she's doing it, I can do it. Or, the happier you are, people are like, oh, it's possible to be happy. It's possible to lose something and be happy. I've had lots of loss in my life. Do I miss them all? And was I sad at the time? Absolutely. But they wouldn't want me to be miserable. They wouldn't want me to be unhappy, right? So I choose to be happy. I choose to live a fulfilled life. I choose to give back, but I choose to give back because it's fun for me, not because I think I should or I have to, or, I have these capacities, so I should do something with them. I didn't do readings for a very long time. This just wasn't my focus, right? And now I'm doing readings again. They're called life discovery readings. And I think that they're a great invitation to people to, really tap into their life and themselves and how to grow and how to change and how to get better. I was at the gym this morning and the coach was like encouraging us in class in this group training session to get 1% better in class. But then as we were leaving, I love that he said, and get 1% better out there in your life today. I was like, yeah, that. What if we all maybe our soul's calling is just that we're meant to be happy, fulfilled, joyful. I don't know. I have this energy of and just meant to grow and learn. And what if every experience that you're going through is here to sharpen your edges, to help you to grow, to encourage you to grow, right? And we can choose not to grow, for sure. That's a choice. It's not right or wrong, good or bad. But if we looked at everything as this opportunity, this possibility of growth and expansion, transformation, to really change things. I don't know. It just seems to be such a beautiful, fulfilling life. And then you can pay it forward. Absolutely. I totally believe in paying it forward. But first you, right? And we talked last week about the gap and the gain, and sometimes that the first you thing is just being able to acknowledge, look back at who you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. How much have you already changed? Maybe you've changed physically, maybe you've changed locations, but you're a different person now than you were even a year ago. But we often don't look at that point in our life that everything changed and be like, I'm so grateful for that. And that was me when I was looking back at the dark energy and how that turned it on a dial. I was just like, oh, there's nothing to fear in the spirit realm. Okay, cool. Awesome. I'm good. But that was so pivotal. And I can acknowledge how much I changed in that instant. From somebody who thought the spirit stuff was cool and exciting, but there was still some part of me that was afraid of it because I didn't know what that was going to mean, right? Or maybe there were bad energies out there or whatever. And I'm not saying that there aren't, but just know that you don't have to be at the effect of them. I say this all the time. I will say it again. There is no one and nothing more powerful than you. And that's what I got in that moment, right? It was like, oh, I'm not at the effect of this dark energy. There's just dark energy, and apparently I can even transform it into light. Cool. Yeah. And just to know who I was before I had my spiritual awakening and who I am now is completely different. And I can acknowledge the growth and the change and the transformation and who I've become. And now how cool is it that I can also help others in their opening and psychic development. So if you'd like more information on Psychic University, please leave a comment. You can say Psychic University below, and we will get back to you. You can hop on a free initial consultation with me and see if it might be a fit for you. I'd love to talk to you anyway. I do love talking to people. But in the meantime, I wanted to just say a little bit more about that. And now we're going to just do a little bit of a visualization for the rest of our time today. Cool. So relax. If you're driving, please don't close your eyes. I always say that, but you never know who might be listening in the future that thinks it's a good idea to close their eyes while they're driving. Awesome. Maybe feel your feet on the floor. Relax your shoulders down your back. Maybe just do like a little side-to-side rocking motion with your head. Just saying hello to your body. One shoulder up, one shoulder, the other one up, down, up. Move your spine. Feel the energy and the fluidity in your spine. And breathe in and exhale out. Breathe in, exhale out. Breathe in, exhale out, and relax. And relax. Maybe because we started talking about spiritual gifts and awakening, aliens, spirits, ghosts, there's some resistance coming up. So let's just lower those walls and barriers, even the ones you don't know about. Breathe in, exhale out. Lower the walls and barriers even more, more. And relax. I've recently been sharing the Channeling Your Higher Self free webinar around if you'd also like a copy of that, you can comment Channeling Higher Self below. But the whole point of that was to get you in tune and tap into your true self. For you to know your true self. To know your higher self. Because you already know all the answers, believe it or not. You already have the awareness. You already know what your soul is calling you to do. And maybe your soul is just calling you to better yourself. Or maybe your soul is calling you to serve others. But wherever you are in the cycle of your life is perfect for you. Today we're going to imagine that you're standing on a shoreline. You could be standing at the beach, hearing the waves lap on the shoreline and the sand. And you're walking down this sandy beach, maybe barefoot. Maybe in shoes, whatever works for you. But as you walk in the sand, you notice that you're not alone. That one of your spiritual team is there with you, or maybe multiples. They're walking down the beach. And in the distance, you see a cave. There's a rock wall and a cave. And with each step that you're walking down this beach, you are more and more relaxed, more and more connected. Connected to the earth, connected to your spiritual team. And more relaxed. Allowing yourself to breathe in and exhale out and relax. And this cave is your soul's calling. It has some sort of symbol or image, or as you step into the cave, you see your soul's calling. And you realize that you already knew that was part of your soul's calling. Maybe you're here to be an artist, to change people's lives through beauty, not because you're out there to cognitively change their lives, but because you enhance their lives by the beauty that you create for their homes. Maybe you're here to design homes, or to be a speaker, to write a book, to coach others. Or maybe you're just here to grow and to learn and to really spend some time learning. I spent 50 years of my life learning. And only now am I feeling the pull to contribute and teach. Well, the last few years, but. So what if right now your soul's call is to learn more, to grow, to become more of who you were meant to be, to learn to trust yourself, to learn to trust the universe, to learn to let go of doubt and fear. Whatever it is, just observe in this cave. What do you see? What are you aware of? Just allow yourself to go a little deeper into the cave. Whatever you're experiencing is perfect for you. But just see how this is a reflection of your soul's calling right now, right? This doesn't have to be your soul's calling forever and ever and for the rest of your life. But your soul's calling, what is your soul calling you to do right now? Time for you to trust in your gifts, trust in what you're seeing and perceiving and knowing, even if nobody else gets it. Is it time to go learn something new, to try on something new, to do something different? Is it time to rebrand? It could be anything. But just breathe it in and exhale out. Let go of your judgments. Just find gratitude for whatever it is that you're perceiving right now, even if it doesn't make sense in your head. If it doesn't make sense in your head right now, that's okay. Just ask your spiritual team to make it clear to you over the next week or two. And give them some time to get you the clarity. Maybe they give you instant clarity right now, that's possible too. And then sometimes some molecules need to be rearranged in our being, in our bodies, so that we can be ready for what's next. When I first became a clairvoyant medium, I had quit doing drugs and alcohol and changed everything in my life. And I was physically ready to have a spiritual awakening. So maybe there's something your soul's calling, your body is calling you to begin to move your body more, exercise, let go of some habits that aren't serving you. The soul's calling doesn't have to be this big, grandiose thing. It could be the little thing that you need to change right now that will lead you to the bigger thing that you know is coming. Breathe in, exhale out. When you've had your experience and you have the next steps, breathe in, exhale out. Again, it doesn't have to make sense to you, and it also doesn't have to be something that you necessarily like either. But notice if you're coming from a space of surrender or if you're resisting and reacting. If there's resistance and reaction, just lower those walls and barriers even more. Breathe in, exhale out. And with this information, remembering everything, you see yourself now leaving the cave. Your spiritual team is still with you. Maybe just one of your guides is there walking with you. You're walking on the beach. And slowly you begin to become aware of your surroundings again. Acknowledging your body, remembering the awareness that you had in the cave. Again, it may or may not make sense right now, but you can ask for clarification. And you move your awareness from having your feet in the sand and on the earth to your feet on the floor, rubbing your hands on your thighs, maybe even rubbing your hands together. And slowly and gently starting to open your eyes, coming forward, remembering everything. Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope that was a contribution to you. I'm really excited to let you know that in February, we're going to be having some guests on the show. Some spiritually gifted people that have had some amazing spiritual experiences, and they're going to come here and share their stories with you. I just really get that could add value. You've heard my story a few times, and I would just like to get you to know that you're not crazy, and whatever gifts you have and capacities you have are perfect for you. And I hope you enjoy them. So we'll see you next week. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being you.